Welcome to my little paintbrush and happy Mother's Day to all the mamas out there. My name is Miss Cami and I'm really excited to paint the spring wreath with you today. It's relaxing, it's super fun, so let's just dive in and get started, okay? All of you have or may have printed off our Hello Spring little saying here. And what I want to do first is transfer this image onto our surface. Okay, there's a number of ways to do that, but I'm going to show you how to do it really simply, and all you need is a pencil. I've got a mechanical pencil here. You can use whatever kind of pencil, lead, graphite you have at home. This is super simple. What you want to do first is flip your paper around like this, and then you just want to use your pencil at an angle and just scribble over the words. Okay, you can see I've already done this, and I've put quite a bit of pressure on my pencil because I want a nice dark covering over each of those letters, okay? Because that is how dark it's going to transfer once I turn it around. Okay, so once you've covered your little saying with your lead here, we're gonna flip that around, and then you go ahead and you center it on your wreath, okay? Now sometimes I like to make a T on my canvas and split it into fours so that I can know exactly where the center is, but that's not necessary if you trust yourself and you just want to eyeball it. That's fine as well. But once you have your placement in there, you just go over each letter with your pencil, okay? And sometimes you got to put a little bit of pressure on there, but remember the canvas isn't all underneath, it isn't all framed, so you can poke through. So be careful with that, okay? So put enough pressure that it can transfer, but not too much that you're gonna go right through the canvas. And then when you're done, you will have your little quote on there, and feel free to, you can print off other quotes, or if you're feeling especially brave, you can just freehand your saying right in the middle of your wreath. Now, if you want to go ahead and do that, you can pause this video and put your saying in there so it's ready to go. But we're going to go ahead and get started with our paints now, okay? Now, today we are just using one brush for the entire painting, which I love. We don't have to switch it around. And I'm going to show you all the different strokes you can get with this brush. This is a number 4 round. So you can see how the bristles kind of meet at a point. And this is all about pressure. If we push hard on this brush, it will actually give us a nice thick brush stroke. If we're super light with the pressure, we'll get a very teeny brush stroke. So I want you to remember that as we're painting, because there's a lot of little twigs on here and that might be intimidating for you, but make sure that you're just being careful with your pressure. All right, now let's look at our palette. As you can see, I've got 5 different piles of my green paint, and we're going to play with all these different shades of green. So I've separated the green so that I can easily mix the different shades. So let's get our brush nice and wet. And this is a phthalo green, and the one thing to remember about phthalo green is it pulls blue, okay? So if you want more limey twigs and branches and leaves, you really want to utilize your yellow. If you want to go into the mints and the turquoise, you just stick with your greens and your whites, okay? The first little branch we're going to do is playing on the blues, okay? It's almost got that lamb's ear leaf shape to it. And I'm going to just go ahead and start up in this pile by pulling some white over and just start mixing. You can see right away, get a good scoop here, that again, see, it's going to pull pretty bluish. We're going into like turquoisey mints. Now, if this is too bright, which it is slightly too bright for me, I'm just gonna touch it with a teeny bit of black. And I know that that seems like the craziest thing to do, but that'll tone it down just a bit so it's not too bright, okay? There we go, that's the color I'm looking for. So I just get a good mix on that, and I'm gonna spin my brush so that my bristles all come to a nice point for me, okay? Make sure you utilize your water a ton in this painting, because the other trick to getting a thin line is to really have nice thin paint, okay? All right, let's go ahead and start with this twig right here. It's just kind of in the left-hand corner. And I'm gonna start at the base, and I'm just gonna notice my pressure's very, very light, okay? Very, very light pressure. When I come to the end of my twig, I'm gonna press down and make that nice leaf shape right at the end of my little branch, okay? And now we're gonna do this shape on either side all the way down. Notice my brush is just like a stamp almost, as I'm using it to just kind of press in like a little raindrop, okay? All the way down. So we're using our brush, just the shape of our brush, and we're just going on either side of it all the way down. And I don't even touch, as you can see, I don't connect to the actual twig, and that's just something that I enjoy doing, but of course you can connect it if you want. It's not a big deal. Okay, so super simple. Now what I'm going to do is just put some white on my brush, just straight white. Haven't washed my brush though. Now I just want to go over and put another layer in. And as I do this, as my brush starts to offload, I'm going to just naturally start to highlight and give different value. You can see it just kind of naturally, each little leaf offloads a little differently. And then it gives it some nice value in there and some depth. So super simple, right? We're okay. Everything's going well. Now we're going to go up here to the right hand corner. So we've skipped 3 branches here. We're going to go over to this one, and we're going to do the same thing. It's making a circle, so it's going to come down this way. Just gently following my little line, and then press, right? At the end of my stroke, I press for that very first leaf, okay? Now this branch has an additional little twig coming off of it. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in just like that, okay? And then we'll just go on either side. Same thing. Now typically, I would be flipping my canvas as I paint, because it would just be easier to do that. So don't feel too afraid to do that. If you're uncomfortable in the position of painting upright like this, go ahead and just flip your canvas around and paint it in at different angles, in different positions. So now I've got that one in, and again, just gonna add just white there to my brush, and I'm gonna go right over these leaves again, and I'm adding that dimension, that extra layer, that extra value in there, okay? So that light is coming down. If I need to reload with white, I can do that. Now these leaves are overlapping a little bit, so don't be too confused by that. And there we go, we have another one. So we're just gonna keep going around here. Now my next branch is just 2 little twigs over. These are super random. Most wreaths are. They're just kind of a twist of different branches and flowers. So here we go. We're gonna follow this one. Light pressure, and then press down. And then again, just kind of like in a stamping motion, I'm gonna go back and forth here. My little twig all the way to the base. Now, if you are not getting this little stamping, just gonna add some white. If you're not getting that little stamping motion down, don't feel afraid to go ahead and pause this video, get yourself a piece of paper. Any paper will do, a paper plate will do, and just practice that motion of just pressing. Remember, it's a stamp. You're just using the shape of your brush And it doesn't hurt to just disconnect for a minute and go practice and get that down, okay? All right, our last one, we're gonna skip about 4 branches, it looks like. We're gonna go to this one that just is kind of under that P and S. And we're gonna do the same thing. And this one might be a bit tricky for me at this angle, but I'm just gonna lightly, and then as I get to the end, I'm gonna press, okay? And then this one also has an offshoot here coming right about here, so get pressed towards the end, okay? So then we just keep loading. If your paint is getting stiff, make sure you go back to your water. That's gonna be really helpful for you. And then we're just going to stamp, stamp, stamp. Every leaf is supposed to be different, so if you're not getting this cookie cutter look, don't let that bother you. That's going to help it look a little bit more natural. Again, flip your canvas if you need to. Don't have to stay in this position the whole time. And then we'll go over here, do the same thing. Okay, and then again, adding some white, we'll come up here to our little twigs and our branches, and we'll go ahead and give it that sort of highlight, and that again playing on those values, and let it just happen. Let it just offload from that brush however it does. Don't feel like you need to control that too much. Okay, just use your brush. All right, it's looking super fun already. So that phase is done. We've got those in just like that, no problem at all. We're gonna move now to our pink blossoms, okay? I'm not even gonna wash my brush because it's just got the turquoise and the whites and the greens on it, which is no big deal. And I'm gonna go ahead and move to my next pile. This one's a little bit limey, so now I'm gonna utilize my yellow. So I'll pull a little yellow up here and you can see the difference. It just instantly pulls more lime. And we're into those deeper greens instead of that bluish tone, okay? And I'm just gonna keep pulling however much I need here till I have a shade that I'm pretty happy with. And I always add white, so I'm going to come over here, mix in some white as well. Don't want to get too bright lime here. I want to stick with these kind of pastel-y colors. This one's feeling good to me here. So let's go ahead and put in our branches and our leaves and our little twigs for our fun pink blossoms, okay? Let's start up here, okay? So we've got the first little branch that we started with, and now this one up here is going to be for our pink blossoms. So I'm going to follow this line, light pressure, right? Just super light, just like that. And I've got a few shoots here. I've got a little, this one twig will hold three flowers. So I'm going to pull one up right there. I need some water on my brush here. Loosen up my paint. Make sure I'm spinning my brush to maintain that nice point. And then I'm going to have another one that's going to come off right about here. Okay? And now I'm going to go ahead and put in my leaves. Let's make this one a little bit longer. All right? And our leaves, we're going to start at the top of our leaf, and then we're just going to come down and shape it in just like that. See that? Make our stem a little bit longer at the base. And we just have that leaf in just like that. We'll do some over here again at the top. Okay, just shaping them in nice and gently. Got one coming off right here. And just without putting too much pressure on our brush and turning our canvas if we need to. The only thing you don't want to do and you want to try and avoid is having leaves that kind of start across from each other. different from this, we want to kind of go every other, and we want to kind of move up like that. Okay. So we get that little leaf in there just like that. All right, maybe we'll put one down here on this little shoot here and just fill that in just like that. So just like we did with our first round of leaves, I'm going to add a little bit of white now to my brush, and I'm just going to go over these, adding that bit of white and value on each leaf. Okay, you don't want it to obviously overtake your painting here, but you just want to add that. Super simple. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So I'm going to load, I'm going to use some water here, really loosen up that paint. Okay, spinning my brush. And let's see, our next set of our pink flowers is this one right here. And this also has 3 little shoots coming off of it. So we'll do the main one there, and then we've got this one here and another one that just kind of comes down like that. Okay, so again, let's start putting in those leaves. Okay, and we all know the shape of most leaves, right? Kind of gets pointy there at the end of the leaf, so just keep going like that. And we've got another one right here. Nice and easy, using our brush with every stroke to get those in. Okay, so there we've got those. Now again, what do? We're going to go ahead and put some white on our brush, add our light and our value. It seems like such a small little step to go get that white paint and do this, but it makes a big difference at the end of your piece to see that light. All right, so we're gonna continue here. Our next pink is right in here, kind of like the very bottom little branch. So let's go ahead, load up with that, and we will paint in our main little stem here, following that line. Using my water as frequently as I need to. And then we've got just a little shoot coming off right there, and then a bigger one that kind of comes in and almost meets up with that branch there. Okay, so just like that, and then we'll go ahead and we'll start putting in our nice little leaves here. Again, they can all be different shapes, different sizes. Leaves are all different, so play on that as much as you want here. Put one in on this branch right here, and maybe we'll do another one down here. Okay, and again, we're going to go into our white, and we're going to fill in and give some dimension, and some light, and some value to these. Okay, just like that. Okay, so we just have one more of our little pink gathering of little buds here. And this one is just right here, right above that turquoisey one. Get into my water. My paint's drying really fast today, so I need to utilize that water. And this one just has 2 little buds. So do our first one, goes all the way down here, and our second one kind of comes off like that. All right, and now for our leaves, just kind of start to get them in there. It's really, so much of it is about muscle memory. It's about just understanding your brush and when to press and when to let go a little bit. So remember that as you're painting, to not be too critical of yourself, especially if you are a beginner and this is your first time painting. I'm gonna go ahead and put white on my brush. you know, you're just learning. So let things happen. And again, it's always good to practice. So if you feel like you need a break for a minute and just get the flow of your brush, totally do that. All right. Okay, so now we've got our second little stem in there, our second little twig, and this is coming together really good. I'm gonna wash my brush now, because it's just getting too gloopy on it. I need to kind of thin that out a bit. But I'm gonna keep doing my branches. I'm gonna keep in my greens right now. And the next one I want to go is really, really deep, okay? So I'm going to use black this time and green, okay? And I'm gonna make a deep, deep forest green, okay? A little bit of black goes a long way, but you can see when I paint through, you can see that that is green and not black, even though it might appear black. I'm gonna go for just a little bit of white, always kind of lightening that up a bit. Okay, and these are for my yellow buds, and I want this really, really deep green. Okay, so I've got that on there now. So now I'm gonna work into my little yellow buds, okay? So we're gonna start up here with this one, and we're just going to, again, like we've done the whole time, we're gonna follow our little branch there. And these leaves are much longer and thinner than any of the leaves we've done before. So we're just going to gently just make a nice long leaf there. Nice and long, thin leaf. Look how pretty that is. Okay, we'll just work up. Okay, making sure our paint is nice and thin, that we can get those long strokes. And that's it, just like that. So we're gonna come down, and our next yellow bud is this twig right here. So I'm gonna spin my brush in there, and I'm going to follow that down just like so. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to again make my long leaves, long skinny leaf strokes, okay? So there's one, do another one coming up here, and then let's do one right here. And it's okay if they overlap with some of our other little branches. That's not a problem at all, okay? We actually have another one really soon. We have one right here, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and just paint that in, following that as much as we can there. Okay, and then nice long leaves. Long, pointy, really skinny at the top. Okay, we'll just keep going here. Again, if you need to shift your canvas, go ahead and do that. Okay, so we've got that one there. And then let's see, our next one is right here. It just comes right underneath that first one we did. I'm gonna make sure I've got some water on my brush there. I'm gonna fill this one in. Just nice. Look how long. I'm not being afraid to really go out far from the branch for that leaf. We're reaching out, and that's not a problem at all. Okay, our last one for the yellow buds is just right here. And we're just gonna nice come down, and then long, beautiful leaves come to a nice point. Just like that. All right, we'll do one more right down here. There we go. Now we just need to add a little white to our brush. Go back and make sure we have that dimension in each of our leaves. Just really just a touch, because again, we really want these twigs to be, these leaves to be pretty dark. It was fun to play with all the different shades of green that's creating this. So this one I want to keep pretty dark, but I just want to add that little bit of white, just like we've done with the others, right? In each of those. Just come down. If at any point you get too much white, just load with your dark again and then just kind of reevaluate the situation there. Oh, we got one more. Put this one in. Okay. How's everybody doing? We doing okay? We are so close to putting in our fun blossoms. So let's just finish up our twigs and our branches and our leaves really quick. I'm going to keep playing with this dark green. I went ahead and washed my brush because it was just getting too thick with paint. But I'm going to keep playing in this darker green. I'm just going to lighten it slightly. So not a ton. Just a little bit there, because I want it to be a little different in that last branch I did. And these are for our fun purple buds, okay? So let's go ahead and put these in. The first one we're going to do is just right over here, and we're just going to follow that. Maybe lighten it just a little more. And this one doesn't have any leaves on it, so just going to make sure our little twigs are in place. There's that one, and then we have a little offshoot coming in right here. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and place that. We'll do this one down here. Just following that line. And this one also has a little shoot going in there. This is looking so pretty. I love just green even without the blossoms is fun. Okay, so let's do this one at the very top, and we'll go around. And then it has one coming off of it as well. And then we've got this one right here curving in, and then it has a little one that goes out like that. All right, so there we go. We've got our last one, and this is the branch for our fun cream daisies, okay? So I'm not gonna wash my brush, so I'm gonna play on the limes again. So you can see I've played into the blues and a little bit into the limes for this last branch. I wanna come a little bit darker than my original here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then I'm gonna come up here to this twig, and we only have two branches that carry this fun daisy, cream daisy. I'm gonna go one right there, and then there's one that kind of wraps around here. Brush needs some water. If it ever gets a little bit frayed like that, just go ahead and load it with some water. And remember to just really light brush strokes. Okay, so we're gonna go like that, and then we're gonna put in some of our leaves. And these are gonna be a little bit more round than the ones before. Okay, and just play on that little leaf there. And then we'll do one right here. Again, it's okay to overlap our other branches. So let's go down to this one now and just lightly follow it, just like that. And then we're going to have one that shoots off just a little bit right there. And again, we'll go ahead and put in our leaves. Okay, a little bit more rounded, but all kind of that same leafy shape that we're all so familiar with. Okay, and then we'll dip into our white and make sure that those leaves have some fun additional value to them. Just letting our paint offload however it does, and being okay with that, letting go of any kind of stress that we might be feeling, making this look a certain way, and just kind of have fun with it. All right. This is looking super good. I hope you're feeling good about it. If you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, take 5 minutes, just relax a little bit. We're gonna jump right into our blossoms. So let's wash our brush really good here. Get all those greens out. And we're gonna go ahead and start with the center of those cream colored daisies, okay? Now the center is going to be brown, and so we're gonna have to make some of that. I'm gonna pull some yellow here. I'm gonna pull a little bit of red, just a tiny bit of red. More yellow than red here. And then I'm gonna start to pull in some black. Okay, again, black is super powerful, so just takes a little bit, as you can see, not a ton, and adding yellow as I need it. Okay, so we want a nice deep brown, and that looks like that's what we're getting. I might just put a little more red in it. If you put too much red into your brown, it's going to pull purple. So you just want to be aware of that so you don't have a purpley brown. But this brown looks pretty good. Now we're going to lighten some of it up a bit with some white. Okay, so we just lighten a little bit of that brown here. Just like that. And then we are going to go up to the top of our little branches where our daisies will be, and we're going to make almost like a gumdrop shape here. You can see, just like that. Just filling that in, nice and easy. And we'll just load with some white and go along the tops here. Make sure it's got that light that's resting in on it. Okay, so same thing on this other one. We're gonna go for that. Just kind of make a smile, and then a deep kind of dome look on top. Okay, just curving it around, and then add some white and just kind of go over the top of that, just like that. Okay, we'll come down here where we've got our other two, and we'll do the same thing. Right, just making kind of like our gumdrop shape here, using our water when we need to kind of thin out our paint a little bit. Okay, so just go in there and then put our white in, really just highlight the tops there. And we've got one more right here. Put in. Okay, and again, focusing that light at the top. So now we can see those blossoms coming in. Let's wash our brush vigorously in our water. And let's go ahead and put our petals in. So we're gonna make a nice cream. Our plate's getting kind of crazy, but that's okay. We're just gonna pull some white over here and some yellow and make a nice cream color for our petals. And we're going to do 4 petals. And what I want you to do is the same with our leaves. We're going to utilize the shape of our brush, and almost like a stamp, we're going to go 1, then 2, 3, and then 4, just like that. And if you feel like you're not getting a good thick layer, you can just really load your brush and just stamp it on there nice and thick. Okay, so again, 1, 2, 3, and 4, just like that. Okay, load it up again if you need to. Try and cover up some of those leaves if they're pulling through, and just like that. Okay, so we'll come down to these, same thing, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then this one, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Usually I do odd numbers, so if you've painted with me before, you're probably shocked that there's 4, but today we're gonna go with 4. Okay, just make sure they have a nice layer on there. And those flowers are good. This one got a little thick. You're welcome to just kind of spread the love a little bit on that one here. Looking good. Okay, let's rinse out that brush. Give it a good wash. We are just about done with our cute wreath here. Okay, let's go to our pink. So we're gonna take this red and we're gonna lighten it up. And it just takes a little bit of white. You can see immediately we get that nice pink. Such a great color. And let's go ahead and put those in. Again, we're gonna use the shape of our brush, you guys, always using the shape of our brush and the water so that we really can put these in just with one stroke, okay? So right here, we're gonna start with this one. I want you to just nice and press, press, and press. There you go, just like that. Just start with that middle, press and then pull, press and then pull, press and then pull. Okay, so you're pushing and then you're pulling away. And then you just want to put some white on your brush like we've done the whole time and just kind of add that, again, that little bit of value in each of those, just like that, okay? So you do it with all of your little pink blossoms here. Got 3 right here. Do this one backwards because of the way I'm sitting, but of course you can do it the other way. Then we're going to go ahead and put the white on our brush, go over those again, just like so. Just make these cute little blossoms. Just get those nice and filled in there. Just kind of add if you've lost any of your pink there. All right, so we've got 2 more sections here with these. And again, we're just one in the middle, one on either side. Loosen up my paint again. It's getting kind of sticky. And just putting those in. Kind of look like little forks almost. Put some white on our brush and just go over those. Always adding values. That's really important when we paint, to add those values. Okay, we've got our last little grouping here at the bottom. So we'll go ahead, fill those in. Just down here, pressing and then pulling away. Just like that. Then adding white just on the tip of our brush, just dump it right in there. And then adding that little bit of value to it. Okay, our pink ones are in. Our yellow ones, we're just going to use the bottom of our brush like a stamp. So we're just going to dip the bottom of our brush in our yellow paint, make a little dot at the bottom, and then you just kind of dot those in just like this, all the way up, as high as you want to go. Make them random. More pressure is a bigger dot, less pressure is a smaller dot, just like everything else in painting. More pressure is bigger, less is smaller. Again, just using the bottom of my brush, get it in there, and then just start to dot all up and around there. Just kind of a nice abstracting, no pressure, put all those in just like that. If you start to get other shapes other than a dot, wipe your brush off and just reload. Okay, and then we'll go over to this one, same thing. And again, if you lap into some of your other leaves or your other flowers, it's totally fine. They would be overlapping anyway. I'll do this one over here. Nice big chunk of paint on the bottom and dot, just dot, dot, dot. All right, ready for our last blossoms, which will be our purple ones. I've got a nice clean brush. I'm gonna add some white to it, go over to my purple, lighten it up a bit, and then we're going to use this brush in kind of a stencil-y motion to put in our purple blossoms. You could see it's just dot, 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 and just putting those in. And I've gone from my light purple to my darker purple, just back and forth so that it has some nice value in there. And I just kind of just dot around my dot up and down my little twig here. Okay. Just like that, just having fun with it, taking the pressure off yourself. Load with some white if you want to go in there and put in that other value, that lighter value. Okay, so now we're just going to finish up our purple ones here. Got this one up here. Dot, 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 dot. Just nice and easy. Load with some of that darker purple now and then to give that nice value, that nice dimension, all the way up and on either side. Just stenciling that in, going up and down. Super random about it. Not thinking too much. I find that when we think too much about what we're doing, it gets too complicated. It gets too much of a pattern going, and we don't want that. This is nature. These are wildflowers, and so they're all gonna be a little bit different here. So let's come down to this one. Same thing, just kind of going around my branch, jumping between some light purple and dark purple. Stamping them in. These are my favorite ones to paint because they're just nothing to it really. Just kind of putting it in there. Nice and easy. And I love that. Okay. Going in for a little bit of dark right there. Let's go to our last one over here. Same thing, I always start a little above my branch and then I just kind of follow it down. Just like so. Oh, got some pink on there. Add a little white. All right, guys painted your wreath. I hope you love it. And you're so proud of yourself because that was a little bit tricky here and there. We really had to pay attention to our brush pressure. So I hope that you're proud of yourself and I hope you enjoyed that. Let's talk about putting in our little saying, okay? Now you can choose any color that you want. I went ahead and went with black, and just like everything else, we're gonna pay real close attention to the pressure of our brush, okay? We're gonna try not to push too hard. We're gonna start really light, and I'm gonna go ahead and loosen up my black paint. Okay, so it's nice and thin, spinning our brush, and now we're just going to go right over those words that we put in at the beginning. Okay, just following those. Nice and easy. Again, if you're feeling really brave and you just want to freehand this, more power to you. Might even have some calligraphists out there. This is just a font that I enjoyed, so I went ahead and went with it. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do larger ones, and when you press that brush, you can see it just makes your stroke a little bit thicker. And we'll just come and do our P. Anytime your brush is ending kind of weird, you can go back and kind of clean it up a little bit. And circling around there. You can follow your transfer image just exactly, or you can kind of veer off. Sometimes I just like to go wherever my wrist is feeling it, you know, and I just kind of go with that flow a little bit. Just kind of staying true to what feels right for you as you're painting. Just do a little eye dot there. We'll come down to our N here. And again, you can go back and kind of clean those up a bit. If you didn't do your image transfer at the beginning of your painting, make sure your painting is nice and dry before you try and transfer the image. You're going to want a nice dry painting, otherwise you're going to mess up all of your flowers as you're transferring it. All right, there it is, you guys. There is your spring wreath. I hope you're proud enough of it that you're going to hang it up and display it where everybody can see. If you're feeling super proud of your work, as you should, you can always sign your name. Nice and easy there. And there you go. I'm so excited that you came and painted with me today. I can't wait to see your paintings, so send them to me, and have a great day and a happy Mother's Day. Bye-bye.